haven't talked in here for a while. So, yeah, it's been a while. Otherwise, consistently good. But, so what I share is more about the scenery, more objective, and the serious, and what I used to share, and what I used to see on Periscope was more personal, insightful, informal stuff. And yeah, I now having a little changes, realizing from here that the reason I love to talk is that I want to listen to genuine, listen genuinely, you know? I wanted to communicate honestly based on the honesty. Hey girl, it's been a while, I know my voice is low.
Uh, it's gotten better, right? Yeah, it was connected on here. Yeah, I was talking something about these days, girls. Like, I don't know. I'd rather talk to you in person, or like, we'd better talk in on WhatsApp or something, not on public broadcast anymore. I think it's a kind of process for me being healed. It's a process of healing, and it was like for me, talking, broadcasting was a part of process of recovery, and then also think it's a recovery, like a probably final process of full recovery. I think because the reason I wanted to talk, hi Miko, on here was that I wanted to meet people genuinely and talk honestly. But on here, not many people are as much honest as I am. And I may need to admit that I don't even deserve to be disappointed at people not being honest. Or the more threatening is people are very often deceitful even to themselves, so they don't want to, and they are not honest even to themselves. And I don't want to talk to dishonest people, nor do not have to deal with dishonesty on here. I don't have that much time. The reason I have spent a lot of time on here and I've talked maybe to articulate my thoughts, and yeah, and then to get to know what I truly think, not to deceive myself. It's been, but now all torn torn parts of my thoughts now it's been healed and made organized now, I think. And I do not even like bear dishonesty anymore. And and I don't want to bother people who are being deceitful to oneself. They deserve to be like that as the way they are. It's not my it's none of my business. It's not my business, like, whatever they think or do or who they are. So that's the reason I've been away from live broadcasts. Of course, I enjoy making videos. I'm gonna edit all those video I recorded from Periscope, and maybe some like touring you guys, right? Like I am working on the editing, and some ASMR or, but yeah, I think I got over from that, and from sharing my own um fractures, like fractured mind. The reason I've been on here was that my mind, heart was torn apart, and then so much like fractured. But now I gather them all together relatively well, and I'm alright for who I am now. And now it's time to take next step. And that will be like which means that I do not need to share my thoughts and ideas, like how I feel on here anymore. Of course, I wish to talk something more organized content, but that might have more clear objective, different from the one I used to have in the past. I talk to synthesize all, like in my head, all experiences and thoughts and ideas, as I said, which have been shattered, right? Those have been shattered. That was the more proper term I wanted to derive. And now it's been well gathered and may need to take next step. Mm. So yeah, I often feel very, very bored. So as being bored, I've been on here as the way I'm bored, and it may look a little pathetic sometimes. It may look a person, cause it's casual. I behave as exactly I behave at my home. No makeup, no anything, and then just behave the person as the person I am. And talking with you, like those what I've done on here, mainly shared with family or like only to very close friends, not in public. We often wear a mask in front of public. We often show only beautiful stuff. But that's the point. There are not many who really deserve to see me as the way who I am. Yeah, only those who can, like, who can be my real friend deserve to see them. But I do not have to um, share all, like a person who I am as a being to, like, with nobody. Those who doesn't deserve, they can't see. I shouldn't share. That's what I'm thinking. And then I've been shared everything so far, but I'm going to share only with few, which that will be very much private. Also, like, even on here, I didn't care about, this is still, like, may look private, but legally, it's not private at all. And when I talk on here, when I listen to, or when I communicate with someone on here, it's basically not talking in person. So now it's better for real friendship rather than virtual friendship. Mm. It's very much virtual, and so many people are mixing this up with real friends. They pretend they're my real friend sometimes. So it's a kind of tricky to say, like, who's my real friend, who's not. But those whom I feel like I'm understood can be my, like, deserve to be called my real friends. But there are some who are only, maybe in a way we are using each other sometimes. They are, like, using me to to for vicarious learning in a way. And that was one of my intention, but like I wanted to function only as a certain role, not as like some other role. But what I couldn't have known was that as I do not know them, I never know how they think, how they are gonna, what their perspectives are. And then now I no longer want to understand that. Like I allow them to think whatever, but not anymore. So yeah, Juliversity related. So Juliversity, actually I created this channel and even the name of this channel to talk about all those I've studied. So I'm working on my lecture. Let me see, like psychological lectures or those. So I may be able to run this as an animation, edit them, and while it's being played, I may explain. Yeah, that was one of my dream from the first, and to run those type of like I do initiate that from. I didn't know from what point I may need to do. That's why I just like keep talking and talking. Maybe as I kept talking on here in public, that's why and I ended up like one of my final goal being here. Mhm. Yeah, that was one of my dreams 5 years ago. Working on the animation and then delivering some educational, informative, intellectual content, and I'm working on it. So yeah, I often been here to pursue friendship. Mm. And I surely do have good friendship through Periscope and YouTube for sure. And I feel very thankful. And having true genuine friendship isn't easy wherever wherever you are. It's not easy. And getting older and older, like I tend to lose them. Mm, and my life schedule, my lifestyle isn't similar to people who are like living in my environment. It's so different, which means that I might not be able to have a lot of empathy. Normally, Koreans, the topic they're sharing is about real estate, stock, Bitcoin, or clubbing. I'm not interested in none of those. Or those females, like kindergarten, or some. But that's somehow survival mechanism for them. To survive from here, they realized they need real estate because only with the salary they might not be able to sustain their life here living in Korea. Like last go, I shared about this briefly. So somebody asked me how much do we need? Oh, how much is the minimum wage for Korean per hour and how much normally Korean earn? So I don't know much about other salary, but as far as I know, the minimum wage for 4 year degree Korean for at their first year of the company, their yearly salary is $24,000 a year, which means barely 200, and some may above 30,000, or those who are engineering, they might be able to get 50,000 to 60,000, but those are, um, as far as I know, like those are attending Samsung are available to receive that amount, 60,000. And if they keep their career like 10 years, I think, those who started from 24,000, mm-hmm, might earn around 32 to 35,000 a year, I assume. Like, I don't know about that. 35 or 30 something thousand. And those who started from 50,000 to 60,000 may earn like about 580 to 100,000. That's what I assume. So that's kind of like income. So let's say it's a very extreme, you know. But the living cost per month, I think I may spend 2,000 a month. Yeah, including everything. And I don't even buy some luxurious stuff, or I don't spend much money on fashion, but that's very like strongly necessary living in Korea. You know, you need to be fashionable to to be competitive working in Korea. You need to look good, even in a business. You need to look good. But most of the money I spend are spent on food, commuting. Yeah, that was mostly like, and then like recent year I invested quite a lot of money for like, advancing my business. So I invested on iPad, I invested on laptop, and quite several others, right? And I probably have spent quite a lot compared to any other, but that might have been usual expense for average Korean, I think. Like even the clothing, I think clothing cost around the shirt cost around $300. Shirts for going to the work, and if you are a business person and if you need to deal with nice business, you need to look good. You need to convince people to work with you, right? You need to look very professional. Even your fashion represent who you are, how professional you are. You're supposed to wear nicely. So I think, as far as I know, the low quality one costs like, and let's cost $100, and the quality one costs around 300. Yeah, that's only for the shirts. Maybe coat, skirt, they might cost far more. Like, what about the cosmetic? Buying the cosmetic probably costs like 100 to 300, same as. So I don't know how much other Koreans are spending, but I spend 2,000 a month, and that might look relatively a lot compared to any other. I don't know how much others are spending, and then when I ask them, they rarely say they haven't spent that much, but they actually what they're wearing, what they're purchasing, they buy more than me. So I don't know. That's why I said 2,000 a month might be the living cost per person for living, right? If they keep a child, that might be more extreme. Like, diapers are very expensive, and the milk are expensive. Milk is expensive. So yeah, living cost in here is compared to their salary, it's pretty like tight. And I forgot that why I even started this. I just reminded of somebody asked me about the like living cost here, and the if it's expensive or not can be decided by the income. Till that was great point. Till high school, public education is free. But the thing is, most of Korean kids are going private institutes. And for private institute, attending a class costs above $300, I assume. About $300 to $500 a month. And then they're not only taking one. They need to take a course from English, English private institute, mathematical institute, and then sometimes going to Korean. Yeah, so and there are some private institute like cramming school, and I don't know how much those are nowadays, but where I worked was above $1,000 per kid. Where I worked, it was 10 years ago, and you know, so probably nowadays. So educational expenditure per kid cost around minimum 300 to over 1,000. Mm. And that's very ordinary one. Some kids are getting extra special care. So that's why I quit my job, like, which I could have earned quite a lot of money, but it was totally against um, educational equality. And as a person who studied, like, education, going against the equality of education, and which is being stressed by UNESCO, I think I shouldn't be like work like that. So it's not easy raising or living with like this kind of system, you know. So if you are from San Francisco and earning from $100,000 a year and visiting Korea, that might be everything might look very cheap and good because in San Francisco, renting a house costs over 3,000 per month, and living costs might be crazy, right? But relatively, so it might look easier, but income might have been that much change. Like San Francisco, people are earning 5 times than ordinary Koreans. So that's why so many people are obsessed with getting into conglomerate companies like Samsung, LG, and those companies often provide welfare pretty well, and that's very like great strength too. Yeah. So, hi Muel. So what I'm gonna do on this scope is that like like providing those animation and making those videos, try to work on my books and research more. I really loved, like, like eventually when I made it, I felt so great. This is exactly what I wanted to do, what I prepared, and then I think I'm capable of doing those all together, right? Awesome, right? I can't even play this. Let's play. It may take a little like long, but this is Albert Bandura, and I was talking about what self-efficacy is. So self-efficacy is a belief that we can achieve and activate something well. And it's based on social cognitive theory, and social cognitive theory is about the reciprocal determinism. So cognition, behavior, and environment are interacting and influencing each other. So this concept has been developed from Bobodo experiment, and the four and like a fundamental like a factors construct of resources making self-efficacy is Vicarious learning, verbal persuasion, mastery achievement, and emotional arousal. You need to feel good when you are doing something, and you're supposed to master it to get self-efficacy. And not only that, you also need to observe others. Through the self-efficacy, like those kind of fundamental, like the foundational factors, you can get self-efficacy, and that can affect your outcome and performance. So many of the researches reveal that self-efficacy is affecting the outcome and performance of various areas like academic attainment, social interaction, and weight management, and health habits, etc., etc. So it has a lot of like positive effect on self-efficacy. It hasn't been done. Oh, I was almost breaking. So yeah, this is what I want to do. Like like teaching those with a voice, and then that's what I always wanted to do. That's why I always like try this and that, and then asking this and that, and trying to figure that out. This may look very easy and simple at this point, but probably I have struggled over 10 years to get to here. And we often talk a lot about psychology, and maybe it's something related with anxiety management. Do I hear noise on audio? Oh, the reason I asked about the noise is that, like, I do have a refrigerator out there, right? And then Blue Yeti even capturing the noise from there, kind of. So I wanted to control that, Sometimes when people are, like, announcing the content, it sounds very calm. Mastering that audio file. Okay, I may need to figure out how to edit that for sure. But if you guys Google Life of School or TAT, like all their contents are being animated like this kind of format. So yeah, that was what I wanted to do, and I'm working on it, and that's one of my what I wanted to do. Like I often say, and this makes me very emotional, but 4 to 5 years, it was only a dream, but it's getting to be more and more actualized. And I'm going to make contracts with LG in SK. Like, it's on the process. I may not be able to get the job, but like this is one of the sample I'm going to provide them. Like, what I'm going to tell them and make them, like, convince them is that I'm going to illustrate your content like in this form, and this can be used as for the a source for animation. You guys can edit them and then spread what you have like taught to your employees, and they normally spend a lot of money on inviting the speakers and then spread, like, educating them. But if they can capture those knowledge in this form and then spreading using their display panel, or they can use it, and then I think that would be very powerful for them. So that's kind of new business area I wish to take in the future. But before doing this, I may need to work on stuff I did just like a postponed. There are several, but the reason I often being here and talking a lot was I couldn't focus when I'm anxious. I've been so much anxious last a year and a half. That year and a half taught me a lot, and then I want to move forward from my life for sure. I probably will miss this conversation. Anxiety, depression, I think what caused what can be a chicken or egg kind of thing, you know. Anxiety can cause depression, and then depression can cause anxiety too. And that's very similar mechanism of self-efficacy, reciprocal. So, okay, so this is it. I just wanted to talk before, and then, like, I always talk to articulate and organize my thoughts, right? In the past, I've been here to communicate, but I probably like not be able to communicate then ever. I better not. And well, but either way, there are plenty of ways we can communicate and talk to each other. So we'll keep in touch from there. Then I will go. Bye bye, guys.